Hey, my name is Ryan with Yushu, and today I'm reviewing my Viberg shoes. In this video, I'll talk about why I purchased these shoes. I'll go over how the 2030 last fits in shoe form. We'll discuss if you can wear these with shorts. Is this the perfect hot weather heritage boot slash shoe? We'll also discuss a controversial issue, and that's why I think the hold fast welted Viberg boot slash shoes are just as good as their stitchdown model. And lastly, we'll finish up the video by discussing if I think Viberg shoes are worth the money. Thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy. Why did I purchase these Viberg shoes? Well, a hint is where I'm at. This isn't my place. This is an Airbnb. I'm actually in Thailand right now. My wife and I are going around Asia visiting different spots in the middle of the US winter. And so what I needed was a pair of good slip-on shoes. So if you don't know, in Thailand, your feet are considered the dirtiest part of your body and the shoes are considered the dirtiest clothing you own. So you're actually supposed to take your shoes off before entering into your apartment or even some stores in Thailand. So I needed to find something that I could use as a slip-on shoe, but still give me that heritage quality feel. And this is what I decided to get, these Viberg 2030 shoes. And what's nice about them is the Chrome XL can be buff and shined, but the nice wedge sole gives it a casual look, so you could take it on the beach or you could take it to a nice beachside restaurant and it fits in most cases. The other thing is I got these stretchable laces, so I'm actually able to stretch these shoes and slip my foot in and slip it out. It works perfectly that way. So I'm able to take them on and off really quickly. And it's a nice way to have a super overbuilt heritage boot slash shoe in a country where you have to be able to take your shoes off quickly. And speaking of that, the first thing I really want to discuss is the fit of the 2030 last in this form, this shoe form. Because I have had other 2030 last Viberg shoes and I really love them. And I especially love how the heel locks you in. But there's a major difference when it comes to the shoe. Just to go over my sizing, I'm a 13D on the Brannick and it's the 13D/C. So I've heard that that's almost a 12.5D. And I always size to a 12 in Viberg. If you know, you always take a full size down. I probably could do an 11.5 too because I'm close to the 12.5 on the Brannick, but I get the 12 and it fits really well. But with the 2030 last, it is a magical last for how the heel really conforms to my heel. Now, normally I love the combination last of like an Alden, but the heel, it's weird. The heel kind of slips around my heel and it doesn't feel like it's like touching or putting any pressure on it, but it holds it in. I was worried about this because if you know with Viberg boots, they have a nice inward curve at the shaft and that helps lock in the heel. But again, this is amazing. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's the leather heel counters, just the shape of the last, but without my heel feeling any pressure on the boot, it locks in perfectly and it's just great. I love the fit of these shoes. My only complaint about the fit is just how stiff they are. And that's like Viberg, it's hard to break it in. And when you're talking about a shoe, it makes it a little bit harder because you can have a little bit more heel slip. But again, it works really nice, locks it in, does the classic Viberg 2030 fits. So I've been very happy with the overall fit of the shoe. Over the next parts of the video, I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to do a deep dive into the quality control. We'll also talk about why I think their hold fast welted boots are just as good as their stitch down boots and if these are worth the money. So let's turn the camera around and take a deep dive into these shoes. One thing to note about Thailand before we go here is this is unacceptable. Me having a pair of shoes on a dining table is an absolute no-go. So don't tell anyone I did this after this video. I'm going to wash this table, put them back at the entry where the shoes belong, and it's going to be our little secret. First things first, let's look at the quality control of these shoes. I have fully broken these in. These have seen a ton of walking, some hiking, and they are holding up great. And man, I mean, that should be expected with Viberg, right? You're paying a ton of money for these. And Viberg are built in a way, they're kind of overbuilt. Like everything about it is overbuilt, heavy. The leather, this is Chrome XL, is super thick, super hardy. So that's really nice. The clicking, I've had videos talking about Viberg's clicking, especially with Chrome XL, and it is fantastic. I mean, there's no loose grain. These have been scuffed up. These are getting abused, but the clicking is great. And I don't think there really is a Chrome Excel lottery. I've talked about this before, but I think really that there is a clicking lottery. If you know how to click Chrome Excel, it should work out great, especially with the high quality Chrome Excel that Viberg uses. It seems thicker than like my Wolverine 1,000 mile boots, and they just work out really nice. And it is a great boot. So if we go over the most controversial thing in this video, it's going to be why I think the welted fiber boots with their hold fast. So if you want to know what a hold fast is in the leather insole that a Goodyear welted boot or shoe is made off of. Usually they would, in the modern shoes, they would glue a fabric gimming that they glue the welt to. Well, in the hold fast construction, they use a thick veg tan insole and they cut a groove into it, and that's what they stitch the welt to. And so it just makes it a way stronger. And it's actually the way that these welted boots were originally made. The fabric gimming that's used now was just a way to speed up the manufacturing processing. So this is more of a, true heritage build. And I think it's just as good as their stitch down because you have that thick veg tan insole with that groove. Then you have a cork layer that sits in between the layers that the welt makes. And then you have a thick veg tan midsole. And I think that's the most comfortable way to build a shoe or a boot, is having that little bit of cork between two thick layers of leather. And that's why I think this is a great way to go about Viberg. Now, everyone thinks, oh, the double row stitch down is the best. You're an idiot to get anything but the double row stitch down. And it's just not true. The welted stuff is awesome. The welted stuff is super comfortable. The welted stuff is just as good. And just to give you a comparison, I've been fiddling around with like learning how to do stitching, learning how to do leather work. And if I were going to actually start a boot company from scratch and make my own boot, the first boot I would make would be a stitch down boot because it's actually a little bit easier to make a stitch down boot. And you need less machines and less time to make a stitch down boot because you're essentially pulling the leather over the lass, gluing that, and then flaring out and then stitching it down instead of having to make a channeled insole and you have to sew a welt to that insole, then you have to then sew down into the midsole or the sole. So I think it's actually a little bit easier of a way to make a boot. Now, the stitch down construction of Viberg is like second to none with how tight the stitches are. But another problem with that is if you go to resole it in the future, it becomes a little bit harder because not a lot of cobblers are going to feel as comfortable matching those holes that the Viberg got out of their stitch down construction. So with this shoe right here, it will be so easy to resole it time and time again because you have that rubber slip sole or second midsole that they'll just peel off and put on another sole. Another reason why their welted boots are really great is because they're actually going to be easier to resole time and time again. And that's just my opinion. I do love stitch down construction. I love their stitch down construction. I just think that, I've gotten comments on my videos about their welted stuff, kind of like, why would you be such an idiot and buy that? It's good stuff too. So just think about that before you comment that I'm an idiot. And then if you still want to comment that I'm an idiot, please continue and proceed. I allow you now. Okay, just kidding. All kidding aside, these are great quality shoes. One thing that's unique about this shoe is that they use this leather heel rand. Now, normally with it looks kind of like a 360-degree welted boot, but it's not. You can see the different leather that they use as the heel rand because they stitched the heel rand into that midsole, which I'm not sure why they did that because usually with two 70-degree welted boots, they sand this tight and just glue it, but they decided to stitch it so you can't sand it as tight. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just, again, a little bit overly built, but I'm happy with it. And the boots or the shoe is amazing. If I've been saying boot, just please forgive me. This is boot-esque, but it really is a shoe. Now, let me talk about something else that's kind of controversial about these, and that's going to be, can you wear them with shorts? A lot of people will wear boots with shorts, so that's not that controversial at all, but it's hard to wear a boot with shorts, especially if like you're going out and you're trying to do it for style. Now, if you're doing it because of your work or whatever, that's fine. You do whatever you want. You can wear stinking Packer boots with shorts if that's what you want to do. Then more power to you. But like, will society accept you wearing these with shorts? And I think, yes, with these, you could. They have the wedge sole, gives it more of a sneaker vibe. But I'm not going to show you B-roll of me wearing these with shorts because I have been blessed with little chicken legs. And I am self-conscious about that, so you're not gonna see me in shorts. No, I'm wearing shorts, but I'm not gonna put it on the internet unless you pay me to put it on the internet. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I have little dainty, childlike ankles. I don't know. I'm 6'4". I grew like a foot in high school, and my ankles didn't get the memo. But yeah, I think you can wear these with shorts. I think it's a nice, hot weather boot if you want a like hot weather heritage style shoe, and it is going to last forever. So that's just another a bonus to it. But let me now go over if I really think these are worth that crazy price tag. These were around $500 on a auxiliary website, but we're still going to talk about, is it really worth that kind of cash? So what's my opinion? Do I think these are worth the extreme price points? Now we know, Viber boots, if you're used to them, they're worth the price, right? Because there's some sort of provenance that comes with having Viber. It comes with having something that is built to this degree, and we just like having it. And if the last fits our foot, it's absolutely worth the money. But what about when we chop it, make it into a shoe, we take less leather from it? Well, I know this is a cop out, but yeah, it's still worth the money. It's basically their boots with a shorter shaft. So if you want a shoe in Viber quality, then I absolutely think they're worth the money. Now, they're not going to be for everyone. Most people are going to be into boots and they're not going to be into a shoe, but I just want you to think about a shoe for just a moment, because when you cuff your jeans, it looks like a boot. No one can really see, and it gives you the opportunity to wear kind of a cool sock. So when you sit down, the sock is exposed. But when you're walking around, downtown, it still looks like you're wearing a really nice looking boot. Just think about it. Think about a shoe, and it's easier to get on and off. You can put in stretchy laces, and it almost becomes like a slipper, which, man, I'm almost 40 now. So being that I could slip something on and off is really convenient, and, that's kind of weird, but is what it is. Absolutely think they're worth the money. Love these. They're overbuilt, like I already talked about, and these will last forever. And in Thailand, they'll last forever also. I really appreciate you sticking around this far. Please let me know if you have any questions about this food, and let me know if you have any questions about Thailand. My wife and I might be moving here on a more permanent basis. We used to do work in Thailand, and we might do it again. So if you want to know anything about Thailand, please let me know. Basically, Thailand's a place you can live about $1,500 a month and live like a king, and that's that. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll see you on the next one.